She stood behind the counter with her chin in her hand, scrolling through her phone as the cafe's afternoon lull dragged on. Mia hated this part of the day, the dead hours between the lunch rush and the evening crowd, when time seemed to freeze and she felt invisible. She was 23, working double shifts to help her mom with rent and save up for nursing school. She wasn't bitter about the work, but the entitled customers, the stale smell of burned espresso, and the constant ache in her feet had worn her down. That's when he walked in. He looked tired, jeans faded, jacket fraying at the sleeves, boots scuffed from a long winter. His eyes scanned the menu with the kind of hesitation Mia had seen 1,000 times. A broke customer, she assumed. Probably going to order the cheapest coffee and sit around for hours. She sighed. "Can I help you?" she asked flatly, without lifting her eyes from the phone. He glanced up at her, gave a small, polite smile, and said, "Yeah. Just a small drip coffee, please." $2.10, she said, punching in the order. He fumbled with his wallet, pulling out coins and a few worn bills. Mia rolled her eyes. "Seriously?" she muttered, too quiet for anyone else but just loud enough to sting if he heard. He handed over the exact change, then moved toward the corner seat near the window. For the next hour, she watched him from behind the counter. He didn't use Wi-Fi. He didn't even pull out a laptop. He just sat there, occasionally looking out the window, sipping slowly, like he had nowhere to be. When her coworker Michelle came in, she whispered to her, "Table 4. One coffee. Been there forever." Michelle laughed. "They always come in when it's cold. Free heat." They joked, not knowing every word was being heard. The man sat still, but his fingers gripped his cup a little tighter. He didn't make a scene, didn't say a word, just quietly stood up, put his empty cup in the bin, and left. Mia forgot about him by the next day. It was Friday morning when the cafe's regional manager announced there would be a surprise inspection. The staff scrambled to clean. That afternoon, a man in a charcoal overcoat and expensive shoes stepped into the cafe. He was followed by 2 assistants. Everyone straightened up. Mia was wiping the counter when her eyes met his. It was him, the same man from earlier that week. No fraying sleeves, no scuffed boots, no hesitation. Her stomach sank. The cafe manager came rushing out, nearly tripping over herself. "Mr. Daniels, we didn't expect you in person now. I wanted to see the store myself," he said, eyes fixed on Mia. "Especially after my last visit." Mia's heart raced. She tried to speak, but no words came out. "Do you remember me?" he asked her calmly. She nodded slowly. "I thought you were just a customer." "That's what I was," he said. "That's how I check the integrity of our staff. How they treat people when they think no one important is watching." Tears welled up in her eyes before she could stop them. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I've just been overwhelmed lately. I didn't mean to be rude." He was silent for a moment. Then he turned to the manager. "She's done. Effective immediately." The words hit like a brick. Mia stood frozen. Fired. On the spot. The cafe blurred around her as shame and panic set in. What would she tell her mother? How would she cover rent? How did one small moment destroy everything? She gathered her bag slowly, humiliated, ready to walk out. But just as she reached the door, Mr. Daniels called out, "Mia." She turned, still blinking away tears. He held out a card. "This isn't the end. It's the beginning, if you want it to be." She took the card hesitantly. It was for a foundation. His foundation. "I started a training program for people who are stuck in survival mode. Not bad people, just burnt out. Angry. Tired. It covers tuition for practical courses. Mentorship. Housing support if needed. But only for those willing to do the work." Her lips trembled. "Why would you help me?" "Because I've been where you are. I worked tables. Slept in shelters. I was dismissed by people like you were dismissing me." Mia clutched the card in her hand, emotion swirling shock, regret, hope. She didn't have an answer that day. But a week later, she emailed. 3 months after that, she enrolled in a healthcare assistant course. 2 years later, she walked across a small stage to receive her nursing diploma, with Mr. Daniels sitting quietly in the back row. She never forgot that moment in the cafe, how her worst mistake became the doorway to her future. And she never treated another stranger the same way again. Because sometimes, the person you write off as just a broke customer is the very person who can change your life. And sometimes, when you lose everything, you gain the one thing that truly matters, a second chance.